Pressure has a way of exposing what is inside of us. It doesn't just create strength, it reveals it. It brings out hidden abilities, untapped endurance, and a level of resilience we never knew we had. Most people try to avoid pressure. They see it as something negative, something that should be escaped as quickly as possible. But in reality, pressure is often the very thing that pushes us into our purpose. It forces us to rise to new levels, to stretch beyond what we thought possible, and to discover the greatness that was inside us all along. Consider a seed. As long as it stays on a shelf, it remains dormant. It has potential, but that potential will never be realized until it is planted, until it is put under pressure. When the seed is buried beneath the soil, when it is pressed into the ground and surrounded by darkness, that is when the growth process begins. It doesn't look like progress at first. In fact, it may seem like the seed is being destroyed, but in reality, the pressure of the soil is activating something inside of it. That seed begins to break open, roots start to form, and soon what was once hidden underground pushes through the surface and becomes something strong and fruitful. The same principle applies to our lives. Without pressure, we remain at the same level. We never push beyond what is comfortable. But when challenges arise, when we are placed in situations that stretch us, that is when our true potential is revealed. Pressure forces us to innovate, to think differently, to develop endurance, and to tap into a strength we never knew we had. Look at how diamonds are formed. They start out as ordinary pieces of carbon, common, unremarkable, and seemingly insignificant. But when they are placed under extreme heat and pressure deep within the earth, something incredible happens. The pressure changes their structure. It forces out weakness and transforms them into one of the strongest, most valuable substances on the planet. Without that pressure, they would remain ordinary. But because of it, they become rare and priceless. Some of the greatest accomplishments in history came from moments of intense pressure. Great leaders didn't rise to the top in times of ease. They were shaped by adversity. Innovators didn't create breakthroughs by sitting in comfort. They were driven by challenges. Every person who has ever done something significant had to endure seasons of pressure that tested them, stretched them, and forced them to grow. Pressure is not meant to break us. It is meant to build us. It reveals qualities we didn't know we had: determination, courage, perseverance, and creativity. It pushes us past limitations and into a new realm of possibility. The moments of greatest pressure are often the moments right before a breakthrough. It's easy to feel discouraged when life doesn't seem to be moving in the right direction, when you've been working hard but not seeing results, when you've been believing for a change but everything around you stays the same. It's tempting to wonder if the breakthrough will ever come. But what you may not realize is that you are closer than you think. The pressure you're feeling, the resistance you're facing, the obstacles standing in your way, they are often signs that something is about to shift. Think about how a baby is born. The moment right before delivery is the most intense. The pain is at its peak. The pressure is overwhelming, and it feels like it will never end. But that is the moment right before new life comes forth. If the mother gave up in that moment, she would miss the very thing she had been waiting for. The same is true in life. The struggle often gets hardest right before the breakthrough. The opposition gets stronger, the pressure increases, and everything in you wants to quit. But that's not the time to give up. It's the time to push forward like never before. Look at how water turns to steam. At 211 degrees, it's just hot water, but at 212 degrees, just 1 degree hotter, it turns into steam, a powerful force that can move locomotives. That one extra degree makes all the difference. In the same way, you may feel like nothing is changing, like you've been doing all you can, but still haven't seen the results. But what if you were just 1 degree away? What if you are right on the verge of something incredible? And all it takes is one more step, one more act of faith, one more push to get there. Nature gives us another example in bamboo trees. When a bamboo seed is planted, for years nothing seems to happen. There is no visible growth, no sign of progress. But underground, something powerful is taking place. Roots are spreading, establishing a deep foundation. Then suddenly, after years of unseen preparation, the bamboo shoots up, growing several feet in a matter of weeks. The delay wasn't denial. The foundation was being laid for something strong and lasting. That's how breakthroughs work. What you see on the surface doesn't always match what's happening behind the scenes. You may think nothing is changing, but there is movement in the unseen. Doors are about to open, opportunities are aligning, and everything you've been working toward is about to come together. The challenge is to keep going, to stay faithful, to keep believing, even when it seems like nothing is happening. Many people quit right before the breakthrough. They walk away when they are just one step away from seeing their prayers answered, their dreams realized, their situation turned around. The resistance you feel is not a sign to stop. It's proof that something is shifting. What you've been waiting for is not far off. It's closer than you think. The words you speak have power. They shape your reality, influence your mindset, and set the direction of your life. In the face of difficulty, it's easy to speak words of doubt, frustration, and defeat. When things aren't going right, when doors aren't opening, when the pressure feels overwhelming, the natural response is to say, nothing is changing. This situation is hopeless. I'll never get out of this. But what you declare over your life has the power to shift the atmosphere. Instead of speaking defeat, you have to start speaking life. Look at how a farmer plants seeds. If he speaks negatively over his field, saying this soil is bad, nothing good will ever grow here, and never waters it, he can't expect a harvest. But if he sows the seeds, nurtures them, and believes for growth, in time, he will see a breakthrough. Your words are like seeds. Every time you declare something over your life, you are planting something for the future. If you want to see victory, you have to plant words of faith. Instead of saying, I'll never get through this, start saying, I am strong, I am equipped, I have everything I need to overcome. This is not just about positive thinking. It's a principle that runs deep. Throughout history, the greatest breakthroughs often started with a declaration. When David stood before Goliath, he didn't speak fear, he declared victory. Before he even threw a single stone, he spoke life over the battle. This giant will fall. His word set the course for what was about to happen. The same applies to your challenge. Instead of saying this problem is too big, start saying this situation is turning in my favor. I will overcome. A ship is steered by a small rudder. No matter how strong the winds or how rough the waters, that tiny piece of wood determines where the ship will go. Your words are the rudder of your life. What you speak in the storm determines where you will end up. If you keep saying, this is too much for me, you'll stay stuck in the struggle. But if you start declaring, I am more than a conqueror, I am coming out of this stronger, you set your course toward breakthrough. Think about the power of speaking life over dry situations. In a desert, nothing grows. But when rain comes, the dry ground begins to bloom. Your words are like that rain. When you speak life, you water the dry areas of your dreams, your health, your relationships, your finances. What once looked dead begins to grow again. Even if you don't see change right away, don't stop speaking life. Keep declaring favor. Keep declaring strength. Keep declaring victory, because your words are shaping the future. There will be moments in life when everything in you wants to quit. The obstacles seem too big, the road too long, and the weight too heavy to carry. You've tried, you've given your best effort, and yet the breakthrough hasn't come. In those moments, the temptation is to stop, to let go, to settle where you are. But that is exactly when you need to keep pushing. The difficulty you're facing is not a sign to give up. It's a sign that something is shifting. A mother in labor experiences the most intense pain just before the baby is born. The contractions increase, the pressure is unbearable, and it feels like she has nothing left to give. But the doctor doesn't say, you know what, this is too hard, let's stop here. No, the doctor says, push, you're closer than you think. The same is true for you. The struggle is not the end of your story. It is proof that you are on the verge of something new. When a seed is planted, it spends time underground, unseen, buried beneath the soil. It could easily seem like nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, roots are growing, foundations are being laid, and a transformation is taking place. Then one day, that tiny seed breaks through the surface and becomes something strong. If the seed could talk, it might say, this darkness is too much. I don't see any progress. I should stop growing. But the seed doesn't stop. It keeps pushing even when it's tough. Pressure is one of the greatest forces for transformation in our lives. It is uncomfortable, it is challenging, and at times it feels unbearable. But without pressure, there is no growth. Without resistance, there is no strength. The truth is, every person who has accomplished something great has had to endure seasons of pressure that tested their endurance, their faith, and their will to keep going. Think about the way muscles grow. If you want to get stronger physically, you don't do it by sitting on the couch and avoiding effort. Strength comes by lifting weights, pushing against resistance, and stretching beyond what is comfortable. When you lift something heavy, your muscles actually experience tiny tears. It's in the healing process that they grow back bigger, stronger, and more capable than before. The same principle applies to life. Every time we face challenges, we are being stretched, tested, and developed. The pressure we feel is not meant to destroy us. It is meant to build something greater within us. Look at the way nature operates. Diamonds, one of the most valuable and sought-after materials on earth, are formed deep within the earth's crust under intense heat and pressure. Without that extreme environment, the carbon would remain ordinary and unremarkable. The same pressure that could seem overwhelming is the very thing that creates beauty, durability, and strength. In the same way, the struggles we go through are refining us, shaping us into something more valuable than we were before. Many people pray for strength, but when pressure comes, they want to run away from it. Strength is not given, it is developed. If everything in life were easy, if there were no obstacles, no difficulties, no resistance, we would remain the same. Growth comes in the struggle. Faith is strengthened when we have no choice but to trust. Character is built when we endure hardships and refuse to give up. Courage is developed when we face fear and push forward anyway. There are moments in life when the weight of pressure feels too much to bear. It can feel like everything is coming against us, like we are being stretched beyond our limit. But that is often the place where we discover what we are truly made of. Pressure forces us to tap into a deeper level of perseverance. It forces us to dig deep and find strength we didn't know we had. It teaches us to rise up, to fight back, and to keep moving forward, even when everything in us wants to quit. Pressure is the birthplace of strength. The fire refines gold. The storm strengthens the tree. The battle makes the warrior. The pressure you feel is not here to weaken you. It is here to reveal the power, the endurance, and the resilience that has been inside of you all along. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is that when they face opposition, it means they are on the wrong path. They assume that resistance is a sign to turn back, to slow down, or to give up. But the truth is, Opposition is often the greatest confirmation that you are moving forward. When you start making progress, when you begin stepping into your purpose, you will face resistance. Challenges don't come to those who are standing still. They come to those who are advancing. Look at a runner in a race. The faster they go, the more wind resistance they feel. The stronger they push forward, the more pressure comes against them. The wind is not a sign that they should stop. It is simply a sign that they are moving. The same is true in life. When you start walking in your calling, when you start breaking generational cycles, when you step out in faith to pursue something greater, opposition will show up. The enemy does not waste time attacking people who are not a threat. The very fact that you are facing resistance is proof that you are heading in the right direction. History shows us that every person who has ever made a lasting impact faced incredible opposition. Inventors were laughed at, visionaries were doubted, leaders were criticized. When you rise to a new level, there will always be forces trying to pull you back down. People may not understand your dreams. They may question your decisions, challenge your growth, or even try to discourage you from continuing. But opposition is not an indication of failure. It is an indication of progress. Think about an airplane taking off. As it accelerates down the runway, the force of the wind pushes against it. But it is that very resistance, that very pressure that allows the plane to lift off the ground and soar to new heights. Without resistance, there would be no elevation. The very thing that seems to be standing in your way could be the thing that propels you forward. In life, resistance often comes in the form of obstacles, criticism, delays, and even betrayal. It can feel like every door is closing, like people are against you, like the path ahead is full of difficulties. But opposition is never about stopping you. It is about strengthening you. When you encounter resistance, it forces you to become more determined, more resilient, and more focused. It pushes you to dig deeper, to fight harder, and to refuse to settle. Every struggle, every setback, every challenge is a sign that you are breaking new ground. The pressure you feel is not meant to stop you. It is meant to push you to a level you have never been before. Growth is never found in comfort. It is not developed in ease or convenience. True growth happens in the moments when we are stretched, tested, and pushed beyond what we thought we could handle. Challenges are not obstacles meant to defeat us. They are opportunities designed to develop us. Without challenges, we remain the same. We stay in the same place, with the same mindset, living at the same level. It is only when we are forced to step outside of what is familiar that we begin to see just how much potential is inside of us. Consider the process of refining gold. Gold in its raw state is filled with impurities. It does not yet shine, and it lacks the strength needed to endure. But when it is placed in the fire, the intense heat begins to burn away everything that does not belong. It is through that extreme process that the gold becomes pure, strong, and valuable. In the same way, life's challenges are the fire that refines us. They expose the weaknesses we need to overcome, the areas where we need to grow, and the strength that we never knew we had. Every challenge brings an opportunity to rise to a new level. When a seed is planted in the soil, it is buried in darkness. The conditions are not easy, and the seed has to push through dirt and resistance before it can break through the surface. But that struggle is necessary for its growth. Without the challenge of pushing through the soil, the seed would never develop the strength to stand tall as a tree. In the same way, every difficulty we face is preparing us for the next stage of our journey. Challenges force us to develop endurance. When everything is going well, there is no need for patience, perseverance, or faith. But when obstacles arise, we are given the opportunity to build resilience. We learn how to keep going when things don't go our way. We develop the ability to trust, even when we can't see a clear path forward. Each time we face a challenge and overcome it, we grow stronger, wiser, and more equipped for what lies ahead. Look at the way a butterfly develops. Before it can spread its wings, it must first struggle to break free from the cocoon. If someone were to cut the cocoon open and remove the struggle, the butterfly would never develop the strength needed to fly. It is the very process of pushing, straining, and fighting to break free that prepares it for the life it was meant to live. The same is true for us. Without challenges, we would never discover our full strength, our true potential, or the heights we are capable of reaching. Setbacks are a part of life, but they are never the end of the story. What looks like a failure, a delay, or a disappointment is often just a setup for something greater. Too often, when people face setbacks, they assume they have lost, that they've missed their chance, or that things will never turn around. But in reality, setbacks are often strategic. They redirect, refine, and prepare us for a comeback that is bigger than we ever imagined. Look at the way an arrow works. Before it can launch forward, it has to be pulled back. The farther it is drawn back, the greater the force when it is released. If you didn't know any better, you might think the arrow was going in the wrong direction, but in reality, that backward motion is creating momentum for something powerful. The same is true in life. Sometimes we feel like we are being pulled backward, like we are losing ground, like we are further from our goals than ever before. But what seems like a setback is actually a setup for something greater. History is full of people who face major setbacks before achieving their greatest victories. Some of the most successful leaders, athletes, and innovators endured failure after failure before finally breaking through. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before he finally created the light bulb. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team before he became one of the greatest players of all time. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television before becoming one of the most influential figures in media. The pattern is clear. Setbacks do not define a person's future unless they allow them to.